There you are. We are here. Hope everybody is well. Welcome to Mahala Monday, everybody. My name is Dougal. This is Rhoda. Hello.
Good morning. Welcome, everybody, to Mahala Monday.
Yeah, this is the perfect way to start your week. So the very first thing you got to do is, of course, like and share this and hit that notification bell so you get notified about all the wonderful episodes that we have. As always, it's an interactive show, so we look forward to your contributions, your questions and comments. And oh boy, do we have a topic today.
Oh, most definitely. And I'm quite excited about this because, you know, I'm always worried about people and their lives and how you interact with people. So this is one of my favorite topics as well, I must say, Dougal.
Now, it is definitely something, and we're going to get straight into it because this is exactly what we do. We're trying to get you a sort of practical solution, but also just to expand your horizon, isn't it?
Yes,
And it sort of centers around stress.
Exactly.
But not really.
It is kind of. And
You're not going to get stressed because of what we're talking about.
not about that topic today. Definitely not. You know, but it's just, I think we're finding ourselves in a very funny space right now, Dougal, where people are kind of not finding themselves and not 100% sure where they're at. And I think this is like a perfect show exactly to kind of just take a step back and be, like we would say, be mindful of your circumstances.
Yeah,
Like
this is exactly what it is about today because, we live in a very different time. I mean, if you just look at the last 10 years, how your lives would have changed.
Oh, yeah.
And we all go through it, and then just to throw in a little COVID situation as well. So things have definitely changed, whether it's on a personal perspective, financial perspective. I'm sure over the last couple of years, people got married, they got families, you know, lives have moved on. Retirement's approaching, whatever your circumstances are, and that's the word, mindfulness. Now, how does this relate to sort of alleviate stress or help you cope with this mindfulness? I've got no idea, but luckily for all of us, we have somebody who has got the answers, of course. So today we'll be joined by Dr. Liza Hamman, who will be joining us, and we're going to talk specifically about mindfulness and how that can help you in stress-related issues, and of course, as well to that. Now, of course, she's got a PhD in education, and she's one of the managers at the tertiary institution as well. And we're very, very excited to have her on. So, Lisa, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us here on Mahala Monday. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Yes, I am fine. Thank you very much. How are you guys doing?
Excellent.
We good. We can't complain.
Rhoda is better than most.
I'm excited to be here.
No, listen, it is absolutely wonderful to have you here. And in the intro, it was a bit of a tricky one to sort of introduce because we want to give people the tools, you know, to sort of approach a stressful situation or just have the moment in order to reflect. But now we're talking about mindfulness. Now, I mean, that sort of grabs a person through it. But I mean, you're the expert on this. If in a very short way you had to define mindfulness when it comes to that, what is it?
A very short definition of mindfulness would be paying attention to the present moment with kindness, compassion, and non-judgment. So how that relates to stress might be a little bit confusing at this point, but we will unpack it as we go through the interview today. So don't stress about that.
So, Lisa, how did this attract you, you know, this practice of mindfulness, and how did it get started?
I think like most people, I was attracted to the process of mindfulness and the practice of mindfulness because of stressful circumstances, anxiety, and burnout. You know, I was, I think I started in 2008 when I was studying towards my master's degree in education at the time. So I was working full time. I was lecturing at the time. I was studying, trying to keep up with my studies. And then, of course, you have all your responsibilities at home. So you really struggle to keep up with the pace of daily life. And I think many people can relate to that experience. And at some stage, you start experiencing burnout, you know, when you get to the weekend and you're absolutely wiped out. You know, you can barely do the fun things that you want to do during the weekend. So it was during my master's that I read about mindfulness in education and how they support students in Europe and in the USA specifically. In South Africa, it's not that well known yet, to deal with their anxiety and their stress in a more constructive manner, and it helps them to improve focus as well during their studies, so it improves performance during exams, etc. So obviously I thought, oh, okay, no, I want that for myself as well, and that's how I started reading more and more about the practice and started doing courses and introducing it in my own life.
Yeah. So at the time, I mean, going around, I mean, there wasn't, let's say, as an awareness locally amongst our borders for, let's say, mindfulness.
No, definitely. And still, we still have a lot of work to do in South Africa if it comes to awareness related to mindfulness. If you compare this to Europe or the USA, where this movement of mindfulness in the medical world, as well as the educational sector, it's huge. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of trainers and facilitators out there. But here in South Africa, we still have a lot to learn about mindfulness.
Yeah, and do you know what? And sort of the way you kind of describe it, because you mentioned things like compassion and sort of in the moment and all of this. So to me, to me personally, it's almost got a ring of, let's say, Eastern sort of or Buddhism sort of methods of doing things. If I now just had to like sort of throw it out there, is it something to do with that?
Well, it does have roots in the Eastern philosophy. So mindfulness is something, it comes from the East. If you think of Buddhism and that type of thing, the Buddhists are associated with mindfulness and the practice of mindfulness. But the way it was introduced in the Western world in 1979 by Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, it's a totally secular practice. So it's not related to a religious practice, although it has the Eastern roots there. Now, as we are introducing it, it has been introduced in 1979, it is a secular practice. And it started, Dr. John Kabat-Zinn started the stress management clinic in Massachusetts in the USA back in 1979, where he worked with patients who really struggled with chronic conditions. So, for example, somebody who struggles with a chronic pain condition, if you're in pain all the time, it starts messing with your mind. So it's difficult to manage that. And Dr. John Kabat-Zinn started working with these patients that were referred by doctors in the late 70s. And that's sort of where it started gaining traction in the Western world and in the US in particular. And you'll see, if you Google mindfulness, you'll find hundreds of medical articles, research, academic articles about mindfulness. And in the early 80s, even in the early 90s, there's not a lot of information about it. But later on, you'll see there was an absolute boom in the research about mindfulness and how to apply it in a secular context, in a medical context, in an educational context, etc. And it focuses on all the benefits that we experience as human beings when we introduce mindfulness into our lives.
And we want to talk about these benefits. But now, when because just on what you said now, you said like even if you were in pain, or let's say suffering or any sort, your mind would play tricks to us. I've noticed, and maybe I'm guilty to this to a certain extent. Well, maybe not. Let's just say I am. But even if you're in a stressful situation, the last person to realize that you are in a stressful situation is the person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We're not very good, and I think maybe it's just a human thing. It could be a societal thing. It could be based on many ways. But we're not very good at sort of identifying problems with ourselves or looking out for the pitfalls.
No.
When it comes to mindfulness, I mean, now you sort of approach, you have like a bit of an holistic approach, because this is now the key. You're aware more of your surroundings. You're a bit more compassionate to yourself, I suppose, and you kind of shape things around that. Is that where this school of thought moves towards to?
Yeah, no, you're very smart there.
Thank you.
Got that. So you're right when you say that people are not self-aware So we sometimes we are so trained to ignore what is happening with our bodies and in our minds. You know, when you're running, for example, and you have an ache or a pain or a cramp, we're sort of in that mode of just pushing through it and pushing on. And we don't really pay attention to the problem until it's an absolute disaster. And mindfulness, the present moment awareness, the self-awareness that comes with mindfulness actually enables you to recognize that earlier and to detect the problem. And the compassion and the kindness that you've mentioned as well enables you to action that, you know, instead of ignoring, you know, I'm in pain, I'm struggling, I'm not coping with this, etc. Instead of just ignoring and soldering on, the kindness and the compassion that comes with mindfulness enables us to take better care of ourselves. So noticing what is the problem and then taking care of yourself and addressing the problem best you can.
Okay, all right.
Then I just want to take one step back again. We were talking about the benefits, or you just kind of touched on it. So could you give us a bit more the benefits that you guys identified in your research?
Oh, there's a lot of benefits. That was mental benefits, of course, the reduced anxiety and reduced stress levels, reduction in burnout. So people who struggle with burnout, increased self-awareness. We touched on that as well. Better communication skills. So you're better at communicating if you're aware of what is going on. And also conflict resolution was identified as a benefit. And those are the mental benefits that were identified. And then there are lots of physical benefits as well. A lower cholesterol levels, studies have found lower heart rate, a better improved immune system, because if we're mentally stressed, we are stressing our bodies as well. So if you can reduce your stress and anxiety, then your immune system improves as well. So it's mental benefits and physical benefits that you can associate with mindfulness. And I can't remember all of them, but there are lots of them.
Yeah, and you know what?
That's holistic. Yeah.
And when we look at the sort of, let's call it cycle, that this is not because of something that is happening now, like the here and the now. This could also be something that leads you to sort of stressful situations that could be a build-up of many years. Just, you know, I don't want to say maybe just bad relationships or something, but something that happened 10 years ago. Is there a chance that could creep up and make me sort of a little bit not well now? I mean, there's obviously a possibility for that, but it is not just certain traumatic experience within the year now. I mean, when we speak mindfulness, you almost have to like think back of like a couple of years ago as well.
You don't have to, no. It may come up in the practice, but what we're trying to do is we are trying to promote a state of mind where you can deal with what is happening right now and decide where you want to focus your mind. So decide whether you want to focus on what is happening, what happened years ago. So there is a need to heal a traumatic event that happened years ago.
Yeah.
But you can't get stuck there. You can't think about it all the time. That's not going to be productive either. So mindfulness is about guiding the mind and focusing the mind. So I need to heal what happened in the past. So I want to focus on that right now. But at other times, I need to focus on what I'm doing right now, and I have to live my life. So then I let go of what happened in the past and I bring the focus back to what is happening right now.
I just wanted to ask you a question because I'm just listening to this now. So, and I think this applies to a lot of people where they actually find like they have aches or pains or headaches, severe headaches. Their bodies are aching. There is all these symptoms obviously involved. And even if they go to the doctor says there's nothing wrong. Could this then be a case of it's kind of stress related and you need to then kind of look back and see what is causing this?
It could, because now you're touching in the area of psychology, if I can put it that way. So going back and working with the past is something that you'll often do with the help of a psychologist. Mindfulness is like a practice that you build that helps you to build resilience, if I can put it that way. So it's like if we do physical exercise, you know, we know that we need to do physical exercise because we need to keep the body strong. And mindfulness is like that. It's like a mental gym that we have to do on a regular basis to keep ourselves strong mentally. So like physical exercise, it's not always that nice to go out and go for a run, etc. We don't always feel like doing it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's fun to do it, sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's easy, and we enjoy it. But we know we have to do it anyways, even if it's hard. And it's the same with mindfulness. Sometimes it's really nice, and sometimes we struggle with it, but we do it anyways because we know it's good for us. It's good for our mental health to practice mindfulness.
So, Liza, if in short, if we've got it, because now we've got a bit of a background on it, if we have to define mindfulness, is there a description of what mindfulness would be as a definition? Now that you've sort of touched on the walls there.
Yes. So if we go back to being present in the moment with kindness, compassion, and non-judgment. So I'm going to break it down a little bit, and I'm going to go and look at present moment awareness first. So we often struggle to focus on the moment. So even if somebody may be listening to this show at the moment, you know, they want to listen, but every now and then they find their minds wander off and they're focused on something else. You know, we struggle to be present. And this lack of present moment awareness means that we miss out on our own lives because we miss out on that moment. And we get to this time of the year, you know, it's the end of August, and we start saying things like, yes, what happened to this year? The time just flew past, etc. And we feel like that because we lost a lot of our moments because we were simply not present for them. And we even miss our good moments. You like let's say the December holiday, the annual holiday. You know, we look forward to that for the whole year, and we're going to go to the beach or the mountain or, I don't know, just veg in front of the TV at home. And we get there and you're on the beach and you're ready now. You're going to enjoy this holiday. And then you start thinking about what's going on at home. You know, is the alarm set? Are the pets okay? You know, what's going on at work, etc. So your body has arrived at the holiday, but your mind isn't there yet. So you don't get to that point of relaxation. And that's the present moment awareness part of it. And that's also strongly related to our stress reaction and how to manage our stress better. Because if you think of our stress reaction, you know, when we are in danger, our bodies have a stress reaction, or we're working towards a deadline or something like that. Our bodies has a stress reaction. And that's there to help us and to protect us. You know, if I'm walking down the street and somebody attacks me, my body produces adrenaline and cortisol, stress hormones, and it enables me to run faster or fight or scale a wall or something like that. That's the adrenaline helping me. But once this situation is past, I have to let go of this situation so that my body can return to normal, so that the adrenaline and those stress hormones can leave my body. But now I keep thinking about what happened, you know, I keep reliving this moment, or I keep anticipating it for the future. So I continue thinking about it over and over again. And my body doesn't understand the difference between actually living through the moment and just thinking about the moment. So then all this adrenaline comes back and it's producing these hormones on a continuous basis. I'm in this heightened state of awareness all the time. And that's when you get things like adrenaline fatigue and burnout, and people get stress-related illnesses. I mean, these days, cancer, arthritis, all of those illnesses are strongly related to stress. So it's this this continuous stress reaction that we have. And it doesn't have to be something as dramatic as what I've just mentioned. It can just be normal day-to-day activities as well that we keep reliving. So bringing yourself back to the present moment means letting go of those stressful events from the past and not anticipating it for the future, so that the body can have time to relax and to heal, you know. That's what we need if we're in a stress reaction. So that's the present moment awareness part of the definition, and why that is important. And then there's a second part, which is the kindness, the compassion part.
Okay.
And that can be even more difficult because we are so used to being really hard on ourselves and really harsh. You know, we motivate ourselves with harsh words. You know, you should have done better. If you make a mistake, we really mean towards ourselves. You know, we treat ourselves in ways that we would never treat a friend or a loved one. And this mindfulness is about changing that habit of being really unkind towards ourselves. And for people, that can be especially difficult because often we have a lifetime of unkindness, of practicing this habit of being unkind towards ourselves. So mindfulness is bringing yourself back to the present moment where we're mostly okay, and also doing it in a kind and compassionate way so that can overflow into your general life, if I can put it that way.
Sure.
Wow.
Lisa, I'm sitting here and I'm going, I have so many contradictory thoughts now. But let me just punch in here quickly. So going back to what you're saying, and especially in the present moment, I know a lot of people, because this is something I've said myself, something I hear all the time, where people say, no, we can only perform under pressure. You know, you need like the walls to start coming in for you to actually start pushing back. And in a lot of ways in society, it might be considered as some sort of achievement, you know. And I'm speaking specifically to deadlines, to people who work in certain work conditions. So clearly this is not good. But I mean, we all know how difficult it is to plan properly. And we all know how difficult it is to do the 5 minutes a day, every day, as our lives go. But I mean, in terms of, you know, when you perform under pressure, I mean, that catches you at the end of the day, because as soon as you said when you go on holiday, you're physically there, but mentally you're still you're not there. That would probably be one of the first telltale signs if you're one of those people.
Yes. So being under pressure for short periods of times, that's okay. You know, your body can handle that. If it's continuous and it never ends and it never stops. And like you said, if you go to bed at night and you can't stop thinking about work or other things, and you wake up in the morning and the first thing you're thinking about is work, then you probably need to address that. That's not really healthy for your physical and mental health. So then you need to learn to control the mind and to guide the mind. You know, there is a time and place to focus on work, but there's also a time and place to let go of that and to relax and take some time for yourself and to take care of yourself so that you can continue. Because eventually you're going to burn out, you know, if you just keep going at that pace. So taking that time to take care of yourself is also kindness and compassion towards yourself. And that's another thing that's really, really difficult for us in our society.
I was just going to say.
It just sounds difficult. Do you know what I mean? Well, not bad difficult, but I must tell you, Danelle, good morning. Danelle is also saying, so proud of Dr. Hamman, an incredible woman doing amazing things at work as well. Thank you very much. And it definitely speaks there. So there you've got a compliment. That's like a nice way to do things. That's very mindful, very mindful. Well done. But that is a nice, but sorry, I just wanted to ask you this as well. Even with people who are adrenaline junkies, and I'm not talking about jumping off bridges, doing extreme sort of sports. I'm talking of the adrenaline that sort of, in the moment, they feel alive when they feel that sort of pressure. You know, the EKGs are all off the chart. All of that would be in the same box then.
It's okay if it's for a short period of time, you know, that's okay. So your body can handle that. Your body has been designed to handle that for a short period of time. But if you can only feel alive when you're jumping out of a plane, then it's also important to look at that and see if you can find, you know, joy and a sense of aliveness in more mundane things, you know, because you can't be in that state of mind all the time. It's not going to last forever. You're going to run into problems. And the awareness that comes with mindfulness also enables you to enjoy the simpler moments in life, because the big moments, they are great. The holidays, jumping out of a plane, the adrenaline rush that you get for that kind of thing, they're great. But it's not an everyday thing. So something small and mundane, like paying attention to your cup of coffee. If you like drinking a cup of coffee in the morning, enjoying your cup of coffee, there's joy in that as well.
Listen, we got a question or two that we're going to ask you, but also we want to know, how do you teach yourself to do this? But here's a question. Thank you, Hubert. Morning. Hubert says, Doc, should we then be observing more, not absorbing, being more aware of what is happening right now without wishing it were different? That would be the question for you.
Yes. No, I think that's an answer within the question. Yes, mindfulness is about observing what is happening to us and definitely not absorbing it, and deciding what we want to focus on. So observing what is happening and deciding where you want to put your focus, and letting go of certain things. So observing, even if it's a situation that's not enjoyable. Observing that it's happening and trying not to get attached to it, not to absorb it, and to let it go of yourself. So that is a skill.
Oh, wow.
All right, so take us closer to the skill. That's what I want. So how do you do this? How do you focus the mind? Can you teach us? Some of us will some of us are not as proficient as other people, but can you teach ourselves to do this? How do we do this?
Some people are more mindful than others, you know. Some people are born to run fast where others aren't, you know. So some people are naturally more inclined to be mindful. And this ability to control the mind, it's something, like I said earlier, it's a practice. It's something that you have to teach yourself, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, at controlling the mind. So guiding the mind and focusing the mind where you want it to go. And we can do this through the practice of meditation. And now when I say the word meditation, usually the room explodes, because there are lots of preconceived ideas about what meditation is. And the first one I usually get is, I can't clear my mind. And yes, of course, you can't clear your mind, because meditation is not about clearing the mind. It's about focusing the mind and letting go of certain thoughts. So a clear mind won't happen. It's about focusing on something that's really simple. For example, the breath. We often use the breath in meditation as an anchor to the present moment. So deciding, I'm going to focus on my breath. And when the thought pops up, I still need to do this, and this today. Then saying, okay, I'm going to let go of that right now, and I'm going to bring my focus back to this present moment awareness. So that's the first thing they usually say. And then they're concerned about the position, because we see all the pictures of the Buddhist monk who meditate and they sit with their legs folded. And you know, most of us in Western society, you know, if I sit down like that, I might never get up again. So the position, the seat, you don't have to sit in that position. You can sit in a chair, you can actually walk, you can stand. You know, sometimes people who had traumatic experience struggle to sit still, so they would rather walk. But the idea is to bring your mind to the present moment, no matter what the position is. And another thing we touched on is earlier already is the religious concerns, because people are worried, this is the Buddhist thing. But it's not. It's a secular practice. It's about focusing the mind. So if you are religious, you can include it in your religion. You can bring it in. You know, prayer is often thought of as a form of meditation. But the way that I practice it and the way that I teach it, it's a secular practice. It's just about focusing the mind. And being in the moment and letting go and cultivating this sense of compassion and kindness towards yourself.
All right, so Dr. Liza, is there a way that you can we do this in about 60 seconds? We don't have much time. Can we do this? So what do I do? I just think of nothing. That's easy for me. Now, you said people are better adapted than others. I'm one of those people.
Oh, okay. So 60 seconds, goodness, that's challenging. Of course, the longer you do it, the more beneficial it is, but we can go for for a 60 seconds one.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Right. So I'm going to ask you to sit up straight in your chairs and
All
with
right.
your hands on your lap.
Okay.
And in a relaxed position, so not clasping. This is not being relaxed. And the back straight. So the idea is to be in a strong, dignified position. So if you're slumping, you're not in a strong, dignified position.
Oh, strong, dignified position.
I don't know what that is. All right.
No slumping. Sit
Okay,
up straight.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, and both feet on the floor. And you can close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. I will close my eyes. And we're just going to take a deep breath in. And if you want, you can hold it for a second or two. So breathing in and breathing out. And now just taking a moment to feel the breath. So maybe you're aware of the slightly cooler air that comes in through the nostrils. And just take a moment or two to focus on that. Maybe you can feel the breath in the chest area. So feel the extension of the chest area as you breathe in. And the sense of release as you breathe out. So as you breathe out, you're letting go. You breathe out, you let go of the old stale air. And you let go of all the stress, so you relax as you breathe out, best you can. So if you're struggling, that's okay. If your mind is wandering, just guide it back to the breath with kindness and compassion. And breathing in and breathing out, you invite yourself to relax. And breathing in one last time and holding the breath and breathing out, letting go. And when you're ready, opening your eyes.
Wow.
So that was a very, very short practice, just to give you a feel of how you would start a meditation practice.
I must be honest with you, I feel
wow.
pretty relaxed. But two things is when you said feel the, because I always thought like, and I kind of get the gist of it because I've done the sort of meditation thing the whole time, and I never, I don't think I ever got it. But now for the first time, because you in detail said you could feel the air go in, you focus on that, and that's all I thought, and I could feel air everywhere. Do you know what I mean? I never thought of that. So and then I wanted to fall asleep, to be quite honest. I don't know if that's the right way to do it.
That's great if you get to that point of relaxation. Remember, sleeping is the ultimate form of letting go. So if you fall asleep, you let go.
Oh, wow.
So obviously, it's not the goal to fall asleep, but the goal is to let go of the thoughts and the emotions. And there's so much happening in your body when you're breathing, as you've noticed now, without me guiding you, is you can feel the breath everywhere in your body. So as long as you're breathing and you can feel the breath and you focus on that, you are meditating. And even if the mind wanders, as it will, if you come back, you're still meditating. Meditation is about letting go over and over again and bringing the mind back. So, and that's also when the kindness and compassion comes in, because when we meditate, the mind will wander. It will definitely happen.
Yeah.
And then not saying to yourself, what's happening? Why can't you do this?
Yeah.
What an idiot. But saying this is normal, the mind will wander, and guiding yourself back to the breath with kindness and compassion. And as we practice that in a meditation practice, it starts overflowing in your everyday life. So when you make a mistake, it's easier for you to say, oh, you know what? Everybody makes mistakes. It's normal, etc.
Oh, wow.
That you start cultivating that kindness towards yourself with practice and with time.
At least it's sorry, Rhoda.
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to ask you now. So, just for everybody to kind of understand that, time frame wise, how long would you be able to do that? Just to do it the right way, so that you're practicing this basically every day.
So it depends on how much time you've got, but I would say for you to really, it takes a while to start feeling the relaxation. So I would say definitely 5 to 10 minutes if you can do that.
Yeah.
And then of course, if you have more time available, then it's like running, you know, it's running 1K is great, but running 4Ks is a little bit better.
Exactly.
Hubert had a comment up who said, meditation should actually be your happy hour in a day. And
Yes.
That's what he means.
People who are commenting here today, because they do speak about the joy of the present moment. So and that is what meditation should be. It's a time of resting. It's a time of healing, allowing the body to relax and to be without judgment.
Lisa, just going back to what you said earlier, it is near impossible to have your mind actually not go anywhere, just be where you are. It is near impossible. So, and I think, and this is just my 2 cents, when you go back to like the breathing, if you every time you're like, oh, did I leave the kettle on, or did I switch the lights on, or pool pump, or whatever it is, when you go back to the whole breathing thing, it kind of just gets you back to that sort of neutral, or let's call it central neutral spot.
Yes.
But because it is near impossible. I mean, you're there to think. You will think. You've got dreams. You've got plans. So reflect on yesterday or the week before, whatever it is. That is absolutely very normal. So it is sometimes near impossible just to keep the mind where it is. But for other people, it's easier.
Yes.
Some people it's easy.
Nothing in the mind. Yeah. Any closing thoughts from you? It's been an absolute fascinating discussion, and I got to be honest, I learned so much today. I really, really did. Any closing thoughts from you, Liza? How do people even get in touch with you?
I'm so happy that you enjoyed it, and it was so much fun to be with you here today. And as I said earlier, there's a website that actually has courses, mindfuleducation.org.za. So if you go on that website, there's courses there that people can participate in, and they can email there to get in touch with me as well. But yeah, just some final thoughts. It's a great practice to introduce into your life, and I hope that this interview will break down some of the preconceived ideas about mindfulness and meditation today.
Definitely.
All right. So mindfuleducation.org.za, and also you can send an email at info@mindfuleducation.org.za for more details. It is absolutely that simple. But you know what? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It has been what a treat. Absolutely what a treat.
Thank you, guys.
It was a treat, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Me too.
And we wish you all the best with everything you've done, and certainly you've introduced a brand new concept to me personally. I don't know about Rhoda.
Definitely. It's going to be, it needs to be slotted in as well into your schedule.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. It's a practice.
So Dr. Liza Hamman, thank you so much for your time. All the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you to you too.
Have a fabulous week.
Have a good day.
Dr. Liza Hamman then joining us here today. So I tell you what, mindfulness, who would have thought? And in a lot of ways, I mean, taking out of the conversation what she wasn't saying this at all, but it's almost like you got to be aware of you. And it's almost like be a pitchy on you.
Yeah,
I'm not saying selfish.
You.
That's not what she said.
That's not what she said.
That's just a bad word I'm using. But that's where you got to be.
And I'll be honest with you, when I thought of the conversation we were going to have around mindfulness, I really thought it was about the next person.
Yeah.
But it really just comes down to be mindful of yourself.
Yeah.
So, and I think this is exactly that, because automatically if you're mindful of yourself, you can automatically then be mindful for others.
And that's where the compassion comes in, and this is it. Love self first, I suppose.
Self first. That's a good one, Google.
Yeah, I
it.
suppose that's what it is. But also, and I understand what she's saying, like it's difficult to sort of clear the mind and meditating. Because I look at it and I go, you know, but boy, I mean, you know, your mind is meant to wonder, I suppose, you know, you're meant to think of things, you know, that's what the mind does. So, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it is definitely giving yourself and acting on what you feel and
practicing it.
yeah,
every day.
pains. Yeah. Like Hubert, he's always got issues with
Hubert.
the knee. He's always got issues with the
I
knee.
saw that one day.
Yeah, you don't meditate right. You're meant to sit.
Don't stand,
Don't
Hubert.
meditate right. Anyway, we'll show him. We'll show him a picture. But that is it. Once again, thank you very much to Dr. Liza Hamman, who joined us here today on Mahala Monday. And as always, of course, fascinating discussions, which is really what it's all about. Thank you very much for your wonderful questions and comments to come through as well. And as always, we look forward to the next one because there's always something happening, isn't
Always
there, Oda?
something happening. And don't forget, guys, you need to subscribe and hit that bell. Okay, and share.
Yeah, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much for watching. Have the best of weeks and have the most joyous of days. Cheers, everybody.
Bye.